So did I hear that right? Line 6 is not coming out with a new Helix this year or most likely for the next couple of years. And is profiling amplifiers unethical? And man, there's still some butthurt about that Slash Magnatone cash grab video I did a couple weeks ago. And what's the best overdrive pedal for the Bad Cat Lynx? And I'm pretty excited to show you guys the new Fender Tone Master FR12. I honestly think this could be the absolute best FRFR cab I've ever played. And believe me, I've tried them all. And I'm going to introduce a new segment in this weekly series called Album of the Week. And I got 3 new badass presets for the Quad Cortex I want to show you. And on top of all that, of course, your viewer comments. All that and more in today's Riffs and Responses. Let's get started. Well, thanks for joining me for today's Riffs and Responses. I can't even remember what number this is. It's in the title. I don't know yet. So I'll do that when I make the thumbnail. But anyways, I'm glad you guys are really enjoying this series as much as I enjoy making it. Seriously, I've been getting a lot of views on these, so I'm just going to keep doing them. So the more views I get, the more excited I am to do these videos. So I want to start out real quick, a little bit of housekeeping. I want to thank Motor City Guitar for allowing me to take this Fender FR12 Tone Master FRFR cab home so I can show it to you guys. And man, this thing really does sound good. I can't wait to show you how good this thing is in a minute here. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm literally blown away at how good this thing sounds. But anyways, I want to thank Motor City Guitar for allowing me to do that. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be able to review about 90% of the gear that I have on this channel. So I really appreciate that store and the owner, Marty, who's a good friend of mine, and all the staff there for allowing me to take this stuff home and show it to you guys. I really appreciate them very much. So if you want to buy something, whatever it is, there's an affiliate link in the description of this video. Just click on that, get an awesome piece of gear for yourself, and get a really good deal on it. They ship anywhere in the continental US, and for the time being, until things change, you don't pay any sales tax if you buy outside of the state of Michigan. And they actually ship faster than most other places. I mean, usually when you buy it there, it's out that same day on its way to you. Anyways, if you like what I do here and you don't want to miss any live streams or episodes that I do, feel free to subscribe and click the bell so that you can be notified every time I come out with a new episode or go live. All right, so on with the video. I'm going to start things off with showing you the FRFR by Fender, this Tone Master FR12. I think they make a 10 as well. Let me just go over the features really quick for you. You have volume, treble, middle, bass, and you have a cut knob on there too. It's like an EQ sweep, and I have everything in the middle. I even cut a little bit of the bass down. I have the bass around 11 o'clock on it, and yeah, this thing, I'm not kidding you. When I sound checked it, I'm like, holy shit, this thing's insane. It sounds like a freaking guitar cab, and there's no weird frequencies coming out of it. I tell you, I've played a lot of different FRFRs, and there's always some weird thing that they do. They're either nasally, or they're congested sounding, or they're boxy. This thing literally sounds like I'm playing an amp through a cab, and this is the first time I've actually had that experience, and I didn't have to EQ the hell out of it to get it to do that. Like I said, everything's right up the middle, and I just turned the bass down just a hair because I'm miking it, and actually I'm using this, you know, the Rode mics. I'm using carry, so I'm just using the little box, and I got it sitting about, I don't know, 5 feet away on a little stand so you can hear what this sounds like. So I'm not even miking it with a fancy mic or anything, and you're going to hear how good this thing sounds. And oddly enough, don't worry, I'll shut up in a minute and start playing, but oddly enough, I had this here and I'm listening to it, and then I had my studio monitors off, and I switched between the cab and the studio monitors, and I wasn't like, oh, the monitors are killing this thing. I mean, it sounds so much better. The quality is here. It really does sound amazing. Like, I wasn't lacking at all either way. So I'm happy with the studio monitors, as you guys know, and I'm also happy with this. I mean, this thing is freaking incredible, and it's priced really well. I mean, it's only $549. There's a lot of FRFRs out there that cost twice as much as this thing, and they don't sound as good. So this is a really good deal. It really is. So without further ado, I'm going to go and unmute Carrie's mic and play a few riffs through this cab for you guys with my Friedman JJ Jr. capture that I did the other day on the Quad Cortex, and I'll be demoing more of that direct for you guys in a minute here, but I want you to hear how good this thing sounds. And remember, it's just a Rode mic that's sitting about 5 feet away on a little stand, and it still sounds really good. So here we go. I mean, seriously, it nails it. I mean, yeah, you got room reflections and I'm picking it up through a little mic and everything, but I'm not kidding you. Standing in front of this cab, I literally feel like I'm playing through an actual guitar cabinet. Again, there's no weird frequencies. There's no weird nasally stuff or congested sounds or fake stuff coming out of this. It sounds really freaking good. And I know I'm off to the side of it right now, but I already had it across the room when I sound checked it, and I was just like, holy shit. This thing sounds really good. It really does. And it's light too. It's really light. You can pick it up easily. If you can't, then you have little girly arms and you need to go to the gym, sissy. And it also has these kickstands. You just angle them back and you could tilt it so it faces up at you, almost like a wedge monitor. So, I mean, there's a lot of great functionality with this. And I love the fact that they do have like a tone stack on here, just like a real amp does. So you got that kind of look and feel of a real amplifier, you know, as far as how it looks and, you know, with the tactile, with the knobs and everything. And it actually sounds and feels like you're playing through a real cab too. So best of both worlds. I seriously highly recommend this thing. It is freaking killer sounding and the feel is great too. Plenty of thump, plenty of low end. It doesn't sound boxy or hollow or wimpy at all. It's got a lot of great thump and you guys know how much I like that thump. So this thing is, you know, I'm just going to go out and say, this is literally the best FRFR cab I've ever played, and I've played a lot of them. You know, a lot of people buy the headrush cabs, you know, those little wedge headrush thingies. You know what? How much are those? Let me look real quick. $3.99 for an FRFR 12, 2500 watt, 12 inch. Yeah, so the 12 inch is $3.99. And this thing absolutely destroys those. And it's 150 more and it's worth every freaking penny. Because again, you get, you know, the tone stack and I mean, it's a wooden enclosure. And whatever they did to voice this thing, they couldn't have done it any better. It literally sounds amazing. And like I said, when I plugged into it, there was zero disappointment. Zero like, oh, I don't know, it's got this thing or whatever. It literally does sound incredible. So, yeah, and Motor City's got them too. And again, I'm not trying to sell you things. I'm just saying, like, if you want to get one, you know, use my link, go to Motor City. And if you don't, that's fine too, you know, but I'm just showing this to you so that you know. And one of the reasons why I'm doing this too is because a lot of people have been emailing me and asking me on the channel and Facebook and whatever, what do you think of the new FRFR by Fender? Well, this is what I think of it. It's freaking amazing. It's a banger. I would totally get this. All right, so next I want to briefly show you the new presets I came up with for the Quad Cortex. So the other day I did a shootout between the Soldano Astro, the Friedman JJ Jr., and the Friedman JEL20. And those amps, all three of them sounded amazing. And I loved how the Friedmans, both of them, sounded in that video. Now, I know I released a Friedman JEL pack a while back, but I'm telling you, like, there was something special about how I had that amp dialed in that day and how I had it mic'd up. And I don't know, there was just this awesome thing that was going on. I'm like, I'm going to capture that. So I did. So I'm releasing up on my website right now all three of these amplifiers in a preset format are up there right now, and it's just 12 bucks. 12 bucks, you get all three of them in a preset format. So you get the captures, you get the overdrive pedals, and all the effects and everything set up in your presets. And you just download them, and they're good to go. All the effects, everything's there. And you got amazing captures of these amps. So you got the JJ Junior, the JEL, and the Soldano Astro. And I'll play them really quick for you right now. So this is the JJ Junior. And man, this sounds amazing. It's got that grit to it that I love, and it came out incredible. So let me just do a quick riff on this, and I'll just cycle through all three of them for you now. Okay, so that's the JJ Junior. And this is the JEL. It's a little tighter, a little less gritty, but it's got that really percussive sound to it. And last but certainly not least, the Astro. So this one, it just sounds really beefy, and there's a little more gain in this one, and I just think this one came out amazing. Yeah, it came out awesome. So you get, with all of these, you get the same type of snapshots or whatever you want to call it. So that's the dry tone, and then this is the one with the little bit of chorus and delay. Okay, you got that, and this is the lead preset with, or snapshot, whatever you want to call it, and this has some really good delay on it. So plenty of delay and all that good stuff for you. It's all set up to sound great in a mix. And then you also get one more here with the Phase 90. So plenty of stuff to use, band practice, live, whatever, writing sessions, studio, you know, and then you can adjust everything to your taste. And the overdrive that I have on all of these is the Odd Box in UK mode. I profiled that as well. So yeah, these just sound incredible. So 12 bucks, you get 3 great presets and of 3 great amplifiers. And they just sound incredible, and the feel is great as well. So I just thought I'd share that with you guys. And I want to thank everybody who's been purchasing the capture and preset packs from me, whether it's Tonex, KEMPER, Quad Cortex. I really appreciate you guys very much. It really means a lot to me, and I'm so glad you guys are enjoying the tones that you're getting. I've heard a lot of great feedback from everyone, and I'm really glad you guys are enjoying this. You know, seriously, it means a lot. I really work hard to make sure that these sound incredible. And I know they do for myself. I just hope everybody else likes them. You know, it's what you go through. But so far, great minds think alike. Everybody else is liking them too. So that's actually a good thing. And yes, I will be making captures for the Tonex with the Soldano Astro very soon as well. So stay tuned for that. I will definitely announce that on the channel. But again, thank you guys very much for your support on the channel and for purchasing all of these packs from me. Really means a lot. All right, so let's start out with a little bit of news. A lot of people were asking Eric Klein, who's like he's like the project leader for Line 6, especially when it comes to the Helix. And they were asking him, like, all right, so NAMM's right around the corner. Are we going to see a new Helix this year? So this is basically what Eric Klein said to one of those inquiries. He said, there very well may not be one in 2025, 2026, or 2027 either. We're currently working on lots of big things. Our engineering team is bigger than it's been in over a decade. If we felt Helix was deficient in any appreciable way, yes, even in 2024, we'd revisit. Firmware updates, past, present, and future, have maintained its S-tier status since 2015. Naysayers be damned. So basically, he's really making sure that people understand. In his opinion, there's no need for a new Helix right now. They're very comfortable with where the product is and how it's performing in the marketplace, and there's no need for them to release a new unit. Now, here's the thing. This is my little bit of a tinfoil hat kind of thing going on here in my head, you know, that I do sometimes. And the harder people deflect, the more curious I get and the more suspicious I get. And I honestly think that it's probably a good idea on one hand to take Eric Klein at his word by saying there will not be a new Helix in 2024 or the next couple of years, because they're very happy with where it's at. And I can totally understand why he would say that. But on the other hand, the harder people abscond and the harder they try to convince you that there's nothing coming out, there's always that part of me that's like, yeah, but maybe there still is, and you're just trying to like really keep this thing hush hush and keep it on the down low. Now, I do not have any inside information on any of this stuff at all, so don't, I'm literally just spitballing here. I don't know if it's going to happen or not, but so there's that other side that's like maybe he is, maybe they are really releasing something and he's just trying to really dissuade anybody from thinking that they are, or could be a play on words. Right? It could be like, well, yeah, we're not releasing a new Helix. The new product is not even going to be called Helix. It's going to be called something else. So he could always say, well, I didn't lie to you guys. I mean, I said we weren't releasing a new Helix, but it doesn't mean we're not releasing a new product. So, like I said, this is just tinfoil hat stuff. I could be completely wrong, but I'm holding out for hope, that Line 6 is coming out with a new product. I don't know if they will or not, but if they do, I'll guarantee you I will be reporting on that. So either way, I hope Line 6 has a great NAMM. They're an awesome company, and they've come out with a lot of game-changing gear over the years, and I'm looking forward to whatever it is that they come out with next. I'm sure it'll be awesome. So what do you guys think? Do you think my tinfoil hat thing might have a point, or do you think I'm crazy? We'll find out in a couple weeks. So speaking of digital platforms, let me read a comment to you guys right now that kind of brings up this next topic. Let me scroll down and get this here. Okay. So, Mark Johnson 2937, he commented, I think it was on my Soldano Astro video where I talked about maybe I'll be profiling it. And so his response to that was, where does he get the Soldano captures? He's asking where I get these. Stealing someone's tones and then reselling them. Does this Soldano guy even have a clue? You come out with a bitchin' amp and no one buys one because they can get the same tone with a $100 box. Why do amp companies even bother? So again, he's referring to me saying that I'm going to profile the Soldano Astro and sell the captures. And so is that ethical? And I'm saying not just with that amp, but just in general, is profiling amplifiers unethical? Is it okay? What are your thoughts on it? I know Henning Pauli did some videos on it a couple years ago, and he made some pretty interesting points with it, and I'm not going to get into all that right now, but as far as I'm concerned, look, companies like KEMPER, Tonex, and now Quad Cortex, and probably others that I forgot about, I guess Headrush does it now. They all do it. They all release a box that does it, okay? And, I buy a lot of these amps with my own money. I mean, I do. I buy them with my own money. And one of the ways that I pay for these amplifiers is I do captures of them so that I can, offset the cost of these amps by selling the captures, okay? And just so you know, captures, profiles, same thing. for people who are wondering. I think that as long as you do it in a way where you're capturing the amplifier in a way that it puts it in a good light, at least do that, right? At least do that, because there's a lot of captures and profiles out there that I've tried that are like, I would never buy that amp if that's really what it sounded like. And I do my best to capture these amplifiers in a good light, you know, and do it the best that I can, raw, real, you know, as far as the feel and the sound goes. I don't do anything extra. I don't do any secret sauce BS with these. I mean, they just sound raw and real, and the feel is great too. And I feel like I represent these amps properly. Now, here's the thing. A lot of people have actually emailed me and said they bought an amplifier because they liked the capture that I did of it so much that they wanted to go out and buy the amp. Legit, I'm serious. I've gotten a lot of emails like that. Doesn't happen every week, but it happens enough for me to mention it. So I think I've actually sold amps with, you know, by using the captures for people. So I think that that's good. But the thing is like I said, companies are making these products that allow you to capture your amps, regardless of how you feel about it being ethical or not. You know, and I mean, there's going to be people making the captures and selling them, and it might as well be me too. I might as well do it as well, you know, and like I said, represent the amps properly. And, you know, because the thing is not everybody can afford, you know, a $4,000 diesel Herbert. So the people that can't afford that and buy a Quad Cortex instead, they were never going to buy the diesel Herbert anyways. You know, they were never going to spend that kind of money. So, you know, digital platforms have been out for a while, and a lot of people have embraced that tech because they don't want to haul heavy gear around anymore, heavy, expensive gear to boot. They don't want to haul all that stuff around anymore. It's too much of a liability. So using these digital platforms has really helped them. So why not give them, you know, the best sounds that we can so that they can still have great tone when they go out and perform. So for those people who would never spend that kind of money on a diesel Herbert, it's not like Quad Cortex or KEMPER or Tone X stole that customer from Herbert or any of these other amps, you know. Now, here's the other thing. I do a lot of amp demos on this show. I do. You guys have watched the show long enough. I've done shootouts, comparisons, dial-ins, demos, unboxings, all kinds of stuff, how-tos, you know, all kinds of stuff with these amps. I'm a big believer in amplifiers, and I want to keep the amp industry alive. And honestly, the amp industry is doing very well. When I talked to Marty a couple months ago about, you know, the whole digital versus analog thing, I'm like, do you think that digital platforms are killing amp sales? He goes, hell no. He's like, for every one digital platform I sell 10 amps. He goes, no joke, I really sell that many in that ratio. And there's a lot of times, especially with the Friedman stuff, he said, those Friedmans, when he releases a new amp and it hits my warehouse, they're already sold most of the time. And sometimes I'll have a few extra, and then I got to wait for my next shipment to sell them to more people. He says, I can't keep those things in the store. Anytime there's a new amp coming out that's a hot new item, they sell quick. They really do. So, you know, amp sales are alive and well, and I think the amps aren't going to go anywhere anytime soon. There's all kinds of new amp companies popping up everywhere. So, but getting back to the ethics of it, let me put it to you this way. There are plenty of amp companies out there who are also jumping on the bandwagon and allowing, like, you know, even Fractal and Line 6 to to model their amps and have an official release of those models. I mean, Quad Cortex, they have official plugins of these amplifiers. And these companies are getting a license payment, a license fee from that as well. So they're making money off of it. It's not hurting them big time. So, and that's smart. If I was an amp builder, I would absolutely rent the finest studio and bring all my amps and cabs in there and spend a few weeks or days or whatever it is profiling all of my stuff and releasing a official licensed, you know, brand X profile or capture pack of all my stuff, and I would charge a good fee, a fair but good fee for it. And who's going to compete with that? You know, like, what if Diesel did that with all their amps? Like, oh, you know, did you get so-and-so's Herbert profile? Well, I got the official Diesel ones. You know, they're approved by Peter Diesel. You know, I mean, how much more close can you get to it than the guy who built the amp and he approves of it? So that's what I'd be doing. So if these companies are smart, and I'm not saying they're not, but I'm just saying if you're smart, you're going to do stuff like that. And if you can't beat them, join them kind of thing. And get a share of the market with that, you know. And you're getting best of both worlds. You're getting the analog share with your actual amps, and then you're getting the digital share with the captures of them and your cabs. And they're official releases, and they're licensed, and people will pay more for those because they're official. So I actually think that's a really good idea, and I hope more companies jump on that, as some have already. So to put a bow on that, I don't think it's unethical as long as you represent the amps properly and you don't cross boundaries with the whole name thing and all that kind of stuff. I mean, there's definitely some legalities there and stuff like that. So as long as you're not pissing off the companies with you know, names and stuff like that, you're labeling things properly, I don't see an issue with it. Again, as long as there are companies making profile units, there's going to be people that profile them, you know, and profile amps with them. And if I'm not doing it, 100 other guys are, and I might as well do it and try to support my channel and, you know, all that stuff too. And I'm buying the amps so that I can profile them. So I'm actually spending money on these amplifiers for that reason. So it's not like I'm hurting their sales for my own stuff. I mean, every one of these amps, like I said, I bought. And one of the ways that I, you know, help fund that is I sell the profiles to people who weren't going to buy the amps in the first place because they already bought a Quad Cortex, Tone X, or a KEMPER anyways. I guess that's my stance on it. What is your stance on it? Feel free to comment in the comment section. Okay, this next comment is from David Joel 111. He said, do you think that on a recording scenario, 100-watt amps are still necessary? These 20-watt amps sound huge. I know you have a 5150 100-watt versus 50-watt video. Need to check that out. Well, thanks for commenting. And that was on my shootout that I did with the JEL and the Soldano and the JJ Jr. And yeah, he's right. Those amps all sounded incredible. And basically, you were hearing a recorded version of those amps because I had them mic'd up and, you know, did it in the video. And there was zero processing on that, by the way. So, so my answer to that is it depends. It depends on the amplifier. Perfect example is I got a JP2C back here. You know, it's a big boy, a lot of wattage, you know, over 100 watts. And then I used to have a Mark 525, Mason Mark 525, and it had the 2C plus mode or whatever in it as well. But did it sound like the JP2C? No, not at all. And it wasn't because they didn't voice it properly. It's because it had EL84s in it, and it had this really congested, spiky kind of sound in it when you compared it to the JP. It didn't sound terrible, but it did not sound the same. So in that scenario, it does matter as far as which amp you're going to record with, like the big dog or the little puppy, you know. Because in that scenario, I would absolutely go with the JP because I didn't care for that congested sound that was in the smaller version of that amplifier. Now, regarding the EVH Stealth 100 versus the EVH Stealth 50, I still would prefer the Stealth 100 because of the Easter eggs that are in there. It's fuller, it's angrier, and it's not so spiky like the 50 watt is. As good as the 50 watt is, the Stealth 100 just has a better overall sound. It's monstrous, it's bigger, it's warmer sounding. In a recording, is there a huge difference? No, but there is a difference. And I've recorded both, and I prefer the Stealth 100, especially because of the Easter eggs. Because of the Easter eggs, the red channel on the Stealth is special compared to the red channel on the 50 watt version. It's just better. It's angrier, gnarlier, and it's fuller without being fizzy. Like, you know, that 50 watt red channel gets a little spiky sometimes, but not the 100 watt. So it depends. Now, Splons, you can go with their lower wattage ones and still get a great, nice, smooth, like that awesome Splon sound out of them. They sound amazing. I heard the same thing with the Mezabarbas. You can get their smaller amps and they sound just as good. And that JJ Jr. and the JEL both sounded incredible. I didn't hear anything on those amps that sounded like spiky or weird. Even though they were EL84s, they still sounded really good. So Dave Friedman really voiced those amps well. And same with the Soldano Astro. That's why I bought it. I've played the 100, I've played the 30, and I think the Astro 20 watt sounds just as good. It doesn't sound small because it's got the 6V6s in it, and it's got that thicker sound. So I would easily record with that and do it with pride. So, you know, I guess that's the long answer. The short answer is, again, it really depends. So you just want to make sure that if you're going to pick a lower wattage amp, especially for recordings, just make sure you're not picking the small wimpy version, which some of these are, and I don't mean to say that in a derogatory way, but make sure you're picking one that sounds the same, and they all differ. So it all depends on which amp that you're talking about. So just check them out and see for yourself. And by the way, while we're talking about this, which amplifiers, in your opinion, sound exactly the same, whether it's the big dog or the smaller version? And which ones do you think sound vastly different from each other? I'd like to see your comments in the comment section. Okay, this next comment is from Jaboozled. He says, "Hey man, love your videos. The Astro has caught my attention since release. Just curious, have you considered buying a Mark II C Plus or having one on your channel?" I already interacted with him in the comment section, but I just wanted to, yep, I got the JP Mark II C Plus right here, and you can weld it to my shelf. I love this amplifier. It's, in my opinion, it's the best amp that Mesa's ever built. I love this amplifier. It's amazing. So yeah, I do have it. I've done a lot of videos on it, and I hope you enjoyed those videos. All right, so this next comment is from Joyce GB9 WC. "Hey man, your amp collection is awesome. Your channel is the best on YouTube." Wow, thanks. Now this is a pretty long comment here, but I'm just going to skip over a lot of it and just get to the question that he had for me regarding the links. He says, "Have you used the Oddbox with the links? I've been using an SD1 with it, getting pretty good results. I seem to always come back to the SD1 with most of my amps. I was wondering if you think I could use an Oddbox." Well, I think everybody should have an Oddbox. I think it's one of those pedals that really works with very sculpted amplifiers, and I think it's awesome, you know. But for the sake of your question, let's go ahead and try the Oddbox right now in UK mode with the Bad Cat links and see how it sounds. And if it sounds good, I'll tell you. If it's not a real good fit for that amp, I'll be honest and tell you that as well. And I'll try a couple other pedals and try to steer you in the right direction regarding which pedal would work best with it. So let's go ahead and check that out now. All right, I'm going to start with the pedal off, play a couple riffs, and then I'll engage it, and let's see how it interacts with the amp. Actually, it sounds really good with it. It retains the overall voicing of the amplifier just by, and it just gives it that extra push for that response that we're all looking for out of an overdrive. Sometimes we want an overdrive to do two things. We want it to make the amp more responsive by tightening it up and giving it that extra push. And we want to change the voicing a little bit because maybe it's just not as aggressive as we'd want it or anything like that. But if you really love the tone of your amplifier, but you just want a better response out of it, you know, transparent pedals like the Oddbox are perfect for that, because they don't really change the voicing of your amplifier. They retain probably 98% of it while just giving it that extra push and response that you're looking for. Now you can crank the tone knob up on it a little bit and get a little more bite, but it really doesn't do a ton. They're pretty subtle pedals regarding voicing. But that being said, I think the Oddbox would be a good choice for you, especially if you love the sound of your amp and you just want to retain that and get that push. But let's go ahead and try the Mud Killer. So pedals off, I'll play a few riffs and then try the Mud Killer, see how that works. Okay, so honestly, it's just me here, my opinion, but I kind of prefer the Mud Killer, and I thought this was going to happen because the Bad Cat is really thick. So, as much as I think the Oddbox is a great pairing, you know, with it, I prefer the Mud Killer because it added that. If you noticed, it added that little bit of texture on the top end, that grit, and I really like that a lot with this amplifier because this amp is really good, and I just wanted that little extra aggression out of it. So, if I was picking between these two pedals, I would probably take them both home because my tastes change. You know how it goes. We're all finicky idiots, you know. On Wednesday, we like the Oddbox. On Thursday, we like the Mud Killer. So it's nice to have them both because I think they're both great pedals. But so I'll just put it to you this way. If you want a more transparent boost that retains the tone of the amplifier, keeps it full, keeps it exactly how it is, but it gives you that response that you're looking for, I'd go with the Oddbox. If you want a little more grit, a little more like texture and aggression, and still get that push and that response, then you want to go with the Mud Killer. Hope that helps. All right, now let's have a little bit of fun. Now, let me just say this. I did this video on the Magnatone, that Slash amp that cost $8 billion a couple weeks ago, and I would say 99.9% of people that watched that episode agreed with me. They were all like, yeah, I would never spend that kind of money. Again, like if you want that tone, just buy a freaking Silver Jubilee, save a bunch of money, and at the end of the day, you're going to sound just like that anyway. So why spend, you know, 5 times that to sound exactly the same and just have maybe some better parts or whatnot? But I mean, come on, you know, that was kind of ridiculous, that whole thing. So that being said, so there was always a couple people that get butt hurt. You know, they get their fifis hurt because, you know, they want a white knight for the either the company or for Slash, and they missed the whole point of the video. The whole point of the video was basically like, how can some of these companies do this kind of stuff, you know? And I just think, like I said, it's a slap in the face to guitar players. But then again, I've met a lot of guitar players, and there's some real idiots out there that fall for this crap. And it's always like, oh my God, it's like, you know, your parents should have named you Facepalm when you came out, because that's all people do when they talk to you. Anyways, so Zazbalks Reti, I guess. Some of these names, man, whatever. He says, really astonishing how much disrespect Slash gets here. The guy wrote some of the most iconic riffs and solos in rock history, played with the most influential artists through all the genres, and is respected among rock giants as far as I know. Just don't get it. And seriously, what has Slash got to do with Magnatone's price policy? The Mesa Boogie JP2C amp costs more than 4,000 European, I guess, here in Europe, if it's available at all, compared to 1,200 for a Silver Jubilee, which you can order everywhere. So, by your augmentation, John Petrucci isn't a humble person either. But I agree that the Silver Jubilee is an amazing amp. Someone can get the Slash tone out of it easily. Okay, well, thanks for commenting. So, I mean, here's the thing. I'm not trying to disrespect Slash at all, and I agree. He's written some pretty cool riffs, and he's played with a lot of different artists, and he does have some respect in the you know, community and everything like that. I mean, Sweet Child of Mine, Welcome to the Jungle, and you know, a couple other songs, whatever. I mean, I wasn't the biggest Guns N' Roses fan, but I mean, I respect what they did as far as, you know, for the most part, they were huge. I mean, I remember I grew up in that era. I mean, when Guns N' Roses released a video, I mean, it was like Apple just released an iPhone. I mean, everyone's glued to their televisions that night, you know, 9 o'clock on MTV, you know, when's the video coming out? And everybody was just glued to their televisions. I remember that. So, again, I wasn't the biggest fan. I'm a prog snob, sorry. And, you know, I was a big Dream Theater Rush guy. So, but anyways, so I wasn't trying to disrespect him, but at the same time, you know, all right, look, you brought up the JP2C. John Petrucci actually is a really humble guy. He's a really cool guy. I've met him several times. He's great. And he's Let me just put it to you this way. Slash isn't even worthy of polishing John's guitars as far as I'm concerned. John is 8 billion times the musician and the guitar player on a technical level, on a writing level, and on a respect level in the industry, more than Slash. You know, I mean, he might not be as big of a household name as Slash, but in the industry, trust me, he's very well known and respected and revered and probably feared by a lot of people as well. I mean, he's Papa John, man. He's awesome. He's amazing. And, you know, like his amplifier, here's the difference, man. Slash's Magnatone amp, okay, let's just say it's built out of the best things known to mankind. All right, fine. It's built with great parts and all that kind of crap. Whoop-de-freaking-do. But it's a basic bitch Jubilee that, you know, at the end of the day, with just better parts. And at the end of the day, you're going to plug into it and be like, it doesn't matter that the parts are better. It doesn't matter that the heat sinks or the you know, the circuits or whatever is better than a Jubilee or whatever, because when you play it and it sounds just like a Jubilee, like their website says, then it's like, well, what's so special about this? But here's the thing with the JP2C. I mean, yeah, Mesa raised their prices and stuff on it, but that had nothing to do with John either. Just like Magnatone, well, I don't know, maybe Magnatone and Slash had a deal, and part of his endorsement is what it is, you know, and they got to pay him. And same thing with Mesa, they got to pay John too, but I digress. You have 3 independent channels with this amplifier. You have the cab clone. You have 2 separate EQs that you can assign to either one of these channels. And what I mean by the EQs is these graphic EQs here. You know, it's got shred mode. It's got a direct out. It's programmable. It's MIDI. I mean, at least with this amplifier, it has features. It's not some basic bitch amp, you know. And these are built well. These are made with really good parts in America too. You know, I've had this thing for years and I haven't had any trouble with it. Where's some, oh, this is wood. So, you know, I mean, it's been a fine amplifier for me, and I've heard nothing but good things about these amps. So the way I look at it is, if I'm going to spend that kind of money on an amplifier, at least I'm going to get some freaking features out of it and some good stuff, you know. That's why I bought the Astro. Yeah, it's pretty pricey for a you know, 20-watt amp, but it's giving you some stuff. It's not just a Soldano. It's a Soldano with a lot of good shit in it, you know. So that's the way I look at it. So again, not shitting all over Slash, even though you know, I mean, all right. So let's do another thing. Eddie Van Halen, the most iconic guitar player ever. No one's ever going to be more iconic than Eddie. Invented all kinds of stuff for gear. Invented all kinds of riffs and techniques and perfected those techniques, and not only perfected them, but brought techniques that were very rare before, like the tapping. He brought that to us and perfected it and made it amazing. And all the guitar players today, whether they know it or not, are influenced by Eddie Van Halen. Slash, he's a blues player, blues rock, kind of bendy notes and some scales and the pentatonic and yeah, blah, blah, blah. I mean, nothing special. Sorry. But he didn't bring anything new as far as guitar playing to the guitar player community. Nothing. Everybody's bent notes. Everybody's played in the pentatonic scale. Everybody. You know? But Eddie Van Halen brought stuff that blew minds. I mean, let's face it. No one played a Guns N' Roses album and their jaw literally hit the floor. Okay? But when Eruption came out, when people heard that for the first time, oh yeah, there were thumps on kitchen floors and car floors and wherever people were standing floors all over the world when they heard Eruption. It was so out of this world. I mean, people were just like, is that a keyboard? What is that? I don't even know what that is. That's how amazing Eddie was. Spanish Fly. I mean, all the stuff that Eddie did. Cathedral. You know, that's the shit right there. Now, if there's anybody on this planet that has a right to have an amplifier that's priced up to the moon, it would be Eddie Van Halen. But no, he didn't, did he? He kept his prices affordable, and that was what he said. He said, I want everybody to be able to get one of my amps. Eddie was a man of the people. That guy was just amazing. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's a perfect example right there of somebody who could have charged up the ass for his stuff, but didn't. Like I said, I don't know how much control Slash has over the Magnatone, But I just think that whether it's him or it's Magnatone, there's definitely some bullshit going on there, and I don't think that amp is worth what they're charging based on you know, how it sounds and everything. Because again, if you want, and you said this too in your comment, if you want to get Slash's tone, just buy a freaking Silver Jubilee and be done with it. You know, because let's face it, if you're going to spend several $1,000s on an amplifier, you're not going to take it to a show and play it anyway. So what good is it? You know, it's a freaking museum piece. But all that said, I appreciate you commenting. I'm not upset or offended by your comment. I just love having a good back and forth with people. So thanks for watching, and I hope you continue to watch my videos. Okay, so this last comment is from this one idiot that's just, he's basically a troll. His name's Dusty Lens, which speaks volumes. That's probably how he sees the world, through a dusty lens. And this is about that same video, the Magnatone. He says, I own a Magnatone. Wait, let me do it in a voice that I think would be more appropriate. Maybe something arrogant, you know? So let's try that. I own a Magnatone. If you have not played one, stay out of the convo. They are made from the finest parts. Yeah, whatever, dude. Again, this just goes right back to the whole thing of I don't care if it's made out of the finest parts or not. At the end of the day, how does it sound? How does it feel? If it sounds good and it's got a great feel and response, who gives a shit? I mean, this EVH Iconic isn't made out of the finest parts, but every time I turn it on, it works and it sounds great. And that's all that matters to me. You know, there's all kinds of gear I have around me that's super expensive, and all the way down to, like, probably my cheapest amp is the MT15. Great amp. Every time I turn it on, sounds great, feels great, does exactly what I want it to do. So that's all that matters to me. I mean, you know, no one in the audience or listening to a recording is ever going to go, you know, I can hear the expensive components in that guy's amplifier when he plays his guitar. No one ever says that. No one even cares. Even people in the know aren't going to say something that's stupid unless they have their head up their ass like you do. You know, and I bet you in a blind test you couldn't tell the difference. And at the end of the day, that's all that counts. But hey, man, you know, I'm glad you own your stupid Magnatone and you paid way too much for it. And it's douchebags like you that parade all over Facebook and all the other social media platforms about how lucky you are because, oh, look at me and my finely built amplifier. It sounds amazing and it's built out of the finest parts. But I bet you couldn't play your way out of a paper bag. And that's why you have to buy an amplifier like that, because you got to do something to cover up for the fact that you suck. And that's really the way it is. You ever heard of Big Truck Little Dick? Yeah. That's you in the version of an amplifier. And I see guys do that all the time, always parading around with their overpriced, stupid amplifiers that have the best components in them. And then as soon as you hear them play through it, it's like, wow, I can't even believe that you even at your level bought an amplifier like that. I'm not saying that you have to be good to, you know, be able to have an amplifier like that, but I just don't like it when the people that own those amplifiers parade around and, you know, shove it in everyone's face about how great their gear is to make up for the fact that they can't even play it properly, you know. So all you guys out there that do that, you're freaking idiots. I scoff at you. And all the guys out there that are hardworking people that just get what they can afford and do their best with it, I salute you guys, and I have a lot of respect for you, because at the end of the day, the most important piece of gear in any room, no matter how much that gear costs, is you. And if you're a great player, then everything else is secondary. All right, so now let's do away with all that and move on to a new segment that I'm putting in these weekly videos, and that's Album of the Week. And I want to give a shout out to my friend Jay Croft. I was talking to him the other night. He's like, yeah, you know, we were talking about ideas for the show, and he's been getting on me lately about, like, yeah, you gotta, you know, maybe do some episodes about, like, maybe the guitar players that influenced you, so people can get to know you better and know why you're the guitarist that you are, and maybe do some albums or something. And I'm like, yeah, man, maybe we could do, you know, top 5 albums or whatever. And I was like, no, you know what I'm going to do? Album of the week. I'll just every week do an album. I'll just talk about an album briefly and maybe turn people on to something new and promote something as well that is amazing and deserves to be heard by people. And he was like, yeah, like stuff like that. Great idea. So thanks, Jay, for the idea. I appreciate that very much. So every week I'll be talking about a different album that really shaped me as a guitar player and as a musician and just as a person who just loves music in general. Now these will range from, you know, when I was a kid all the way up to last week, you know. So the one album I want to just kick things off with is Circus Maximus came out with an album several years ago called 9. And here's a picture of the album cover here. And man, Mats Hugin is an amazing guitar player. I mean, this guy is an absolute beast on the guitar. Perfection, just an amazing technical player, but his writing is just insane. His solos are so fluid and melodic, and he's got a lot of great fast technical things too, but it's all done in a very musical way. And this album, and I'll get to the rest of the band in a second here as far as what I think of them, but the music on this album and the production is top notch. I mean, there's not one song on here that you will skip. Every single song is like perfect. It's like, I almost feel bad when bands come out with an album this good because it's like, how do you follow that up? I mean, it's like pitching a perfect game. You know you can't do better than that on your next game. So, yeah, this album was just incredible. It spoke volumes to me in so many ways. And the vocalist, Michael, is amazing. And he's got this really good blend of like an awesome polished pop voice, but mixed with a great metal singer at the same time. And that's kind of how their music is. It's metal and it's kind of proggy, but there's this pop element to it that makes it really catchy and very listenable and memorable. And like I said, it's just incredible. So I can't recommend this album enough. The whole band is extremely talented. The bass player, keyboard, drummer, singer, the guitar player, just everybody's top notch. I mean, and they did some awesome videos where they went to Japan and played there at, I think it was like I can't remember, it was a Prague show, and it just was incredible. So watch that. It's on YouTube in HD or in 4K, I think, and that was really worth watching. Watch that. They did a documentary along with the show, and but definitely go on Spotify or whatever, Apple, whatever, and check out Circus Maximus 9. And just listen to it from start to finish. Every single song is amazing. It's such a great musical journey, and I learned a lot from that album as a guitar player. So I stole some, you know, some concepts from Mats's playing, and on there, and there's just some really good stuff on there. Now, I'm not saying I could play everything he could play. I just say I took a little bit of his concepts and applied them to my playing. That guy had mopped the floor with me. But anyways, yeah, incredible, incredible music. Go check him out. I hope you enjoy the album. And like I said, just drop the needle and enjoy yourself, you know. It's just amazing. So anyways, guys, well, thanks for watching. Thanks for spending time with me today. I really appreciate it. And to all my subscribers and Patreon supporters, I really appreciate you guys. And thanks again, Motor City, for always supporting the channel. I really appreciate that. Well, I got a lot of great stuff coming up for you guys, and I will see you on the next one.